to something completely different, also happening in the early 60s, also very influential, which was called the kitchen sink dramas. Have you heard of them? And I mean, yeah, I mean, you hear kitchen sink, what do you think? Upper class? Not really.
Is
that like Douglas Sirk's?
No. No, it's not. No, no. I mean, Douglas Sirk, that was the upper echelons of society as well, usually, that he portrayed. No.
Is it kind of like a soap, in a way?
It's a good point. It isn't, but I know what you mean.
Is it sort of like, it's sort of like an in-the-home drama? Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, it's one way, it's one aspect of it, it's not all of it, it's one element of it.
I mentioned it before, like the gritty, is it?
Yes.
Like,
those are the gritty ones now we're coming to.
yes,
The
this is
British
where
grittiness. Exactly. Away from, suave Bond, we're going to go gritty.
If kitchen sinks are definitely set in the north, like especially with Ken Loach, basically makes anywhere.
Loach is not kitchen sink.
Kind of.
Yes, he was a bit later, but anyway, yes, I know what you mean. North, absolutely, northern locations, which is something that hadn't happened before. Filmmaking was really not taking place in the north, and it was particularly not before kitchen sink dramas came along. It was films did not focus on the working classes, and this is when for the first time in Britain, narrative films were made about the working classes in northern England. Okay.
Is it like independent British cinema now?
Yeah,
similar.
Similar. We'll come to that later, but yes, we'll come to those kinds of films later. And they are, of course, the modern equivalent nowadays, but this was the 60s. And so there was this kind of, it was almost a movement, of directors that made films about real people. So we talk about realism again. And together with that, the term Angry Young Men comes up as well. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of the Angry Young Men? They were...
Was that filmed by Sidney Lumet?
No. Oh no, that was 12 Angry Men. Oh, well, spotted. No, that was very, very different. And that was in America. So, well, stay in Britain.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. You're allowed to say things here. But no, the Angry Young Men were a group of writers, actually, that wrote novels and plays in the 50s in Britain. They were quite important. And some of their books, of their novels, have been made into films. And that's why I grouped them with the kitchen sink together, because they were also about northerners, generally speaking, and about real lives of real people, with a lot of realism, and not necessarily happy endings and that sort of thing in them. Okay.
Did that like, did they write Saturday Night and Sunday?
Yes, they did. That's one of them. Saturday Night and Sunday Morning is one of them. It's a very iconic one, and that was made into a film. Yeah. So that's one example. A Room at the Top is quite well known. So this happened round about the same time as the French New Wave, which was late 50s, early 60s. And as we said, the focus was on northern England. And I need to move this on. Yeah. Focus was on northern England, social realism, I said it, working classes were portrayed. And the Angry Young Men were these authors, these writers that they were both stage plays and novels that were adapted, into films. So they were very, just like the French New Wave, they were dismissive of the commercialization of filmmaking. So they were against the film industry, that was just trying to make money. It was run like a business. Yeah, so they were independents. They were true independents, we would call them today. So we have, for example, Look Back in Anger, which has the anger in it, yeah. That was a play. And then we have The Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. We have Look Back in, I said that, yeah. And Room at the Top and Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, for example. And most of them were turned into films as well. Okay? We'll move on from that because we're going to stay north, and somebody mentioned Ken Loach already. We're going to have a quick look at Ken Loach. he was just a little bit later. He was part of, part of the movement probably, but he was a little bit later. And Ken Loach, I think I'll skip the next one. I'll do that next week. Back to the North, here we are. And we're going to look at one of his films, very, very famous, one of his very early films. He also worked in cinema, in television to begin with, and then he made films for the cinema as well. And we're going to look at Kess of 1969. Again, cinematography, important. British cinematographers are just brilliant. Chris Menges, you might know him. He's still working. What? Yeah, well, there you go. So anyway,